We're ready to get started for the deep dive this morning. I want to say welcome to everybody who's joining. It's Monday, April 3rd, first deep dive of April. Hope you're doing well in April, and spring is certainly here. It feels that way, but welcome to everybody joining. So good to see people from all over the country that join the deep dive each Monday morning as we get started. You know, I always say we start the week off talking about the most important topics in real estate, and we're going to do that this morning with home prices. We've got some really good information. The Keeping Current Matters research team has compiled a lot of information over the last week from a lot of things that have been published relative to home prices. So we're going to take a look at that and sort of go into that. I'm going to follow along as always. Let us know where you're watching from. It's good to see people that join the deep dive consistently. So good to see you, Kim, there from Greenville, South Carolina. Great to have you on, Kim. Robin, see you there. Linda, great to have you on. You know, it's so good to see so many people each week as we start off the deep dive. And maybe even I would put a question out there to you. What's happening with home prices where you're at? You know, we live in a market right now in a world in real estate where what's happening in one area may not be happening in the other area, but we're going to start to break that down and take a look at everything happening here. So Eric, see you there in Minneapolis. Kristen in Bozeman, Montana. Great to have you. Vanessa, so many people joining. You know, I would say this. If the deep dive is something that, you know someone or you want to share it with someone, go ahead and tag them or share this stream. That way we get this information in the hands of more agents across the country so they can be educated on what's happening right now in market. So let's do that. We're going to get started here. So good to see so many people joining. You know, as people get on here, we like to give it just a couple of minutes. Josh, see you there in Brazelton, Georgia. So many people from across the country. So many great supporters of KCM. We're going to be talking about home prices this morning, and I'm going to share my screen. You know, if you're a KCM member, you can take all of these slides after the deep dive. You know, use them, keep them on maybe a tablet or your phone as you have conversations. But they are the things that I believe you need to be talking about right now. So if we start off this topic of home prices, I want to maybe rewind time for just a minute and go back to last fall and what, you know, some of the sort of terrifying headlines were. You know, if you go back, these are from November and September, October, kind of the fall of last year. House prices could plunge 20%. Remember, the Dallas Fed came out and said that. Others said, Lance Lambert with Fortune magazine, there are now 210 U.S. housing markets at risk of 15 to 20%. You know, there's also a Fortune magazine, you can find an article that was published on Friday that says the housing correction may be losing some steam. You know, a very negative headline on a positive topic. And you see these here. We know what was there in the fall. We said, hey, we don't see 20% fall in home prices for a lot of reasons, but certainly the undersupply being one of the big reasons that we didn't see a massive amount of inventory coming to market. But we were kind of inundated in our business with headlines just like these. Well, what came out from Black Knight here? Home prices nationally rose 0.16% in February when seasonally adjusted, according to Black Knight. That is the strongest one-month gain since May of last year. Home prices are now 2.6% below their peak last June. And I'm going to break that down in dollars here in just a minute. But what we can see here is what, you know, all the sort of, you know, the terrifying headlines. We always say headlines do more to terrify than clarify. What they said, certainly not the case, not where we are sitting here with the latest information in the first week of April. Now, if you were on the deep dive a couple of weeks ago, I said this. I said, what is the one thing that could get in the way of your success this year? If you remember that, the answer was your mindset. Now, I believe coming into the spring market, coming into this real estate year, certainly our mindset, what we believe about the market, what we tell ourselves about the market is going to be one of the things that could stand in the way of our success. Now, I think it's true for the buyers and sellers, the consumers that we work with as well. And I read this weekend from Rewire. It's this: neuroscientists have found that that people spend 90% of their lives using what's called narrative circuitry rather than direct experience. In other words, we spend 90% of our lives telling ourselves what is happening. And that certainly rings true. Probably it does for me, probably for a lot of us. You think I said this, or I would have done that, or whatever we are telling ourselves. The same is true about our business. People are telling themselves maybe what they heard in the fall. Home prices are going to drop 20%. Nobody wants to enter the market if that's the case. And yet we see the latest information from Black Knight and certainly others that I'm going to break down here in a minute where that is not the case. Our job is to be the knowledge broker, to get the information out in the hands of those that need it, to oftentimes combat what maybe we're telling ourselves or what we think about maybe happening in the market. So let's look at that. First piece here from Case-Shiller, just out, home price appreciation. This is January 2023 year-over-year appreciation in the top 20 cities in this country. So this is where price is at this January as compared to last January. This is same home sales. It runs in arrears, a couple months old because of that, but it's the best information. And what do you see? Largely across the country, there's positive appreciation over the last year in home prices. Now we'll get to month over month in just a minute, but we see there are a few West Coast cities, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, that have seen a dip. Now, most of the times when you see things on YouTube or you see people talking about home price drops of 20%, they often say, well, tell that to the people of San Francisco, the people of Seattle. And I'm not saying that that's not an important topic. If you're in those markets, then you're navigating that, but it's not the larger picture of home prices across the country. Matter of fact, there's some interesting correlations here. Wall Street Journal just said this: certain housing markets in the West have enjoyed long price run up since the 90s, when the rapid growth of the technology industry fueled a housing boom. Now the cities most closely associated with tech have the fastest falling home prices, and certainly that's not true. Certainly that's the case there, but that may not be the only reason. But there's a correlation there between cities that have a huge tech environment and what you just saw on this last slide of areas that have seen year-over-year home price decline. Now, if we go year-over-year by region from the FHFA, you see that every region outside of the Pacific, which is flat, have seen home price appreciation. Now, again, let's go back to how we started this. What are people telling themselves about this market? That homes could go down in value as much as 20% or whatever that narrative is in their head that they may be telling themselves. Certainly not the case with the most recent information that we have comparing this January to last January. Look, month over month, we see a different picture here. You can see that this is January 2023 month over month appreciation in the same cities. Now you see green there in the first, alphabetically, the first 5 cities there, but the rest slight depreciation or flat markets, 0.1%, not 1%, 0.1%. If you take Miami, for example, the U.S. National appreciation picture month over month, 0.2%, 0.2% depreciation. So a little bit different picture month over month than what we've seen year over year. Now I'm going to give you that look that we've been following for a while here at KCM that shows you really the look at the last year, and we'll hop into that here in just a second. But if we look at the same picture from FHFA month over month, we see more regions with slight depreciation: the Pacific region, the Mountain region, East, South, Central, others either flat or positive appreciation. Now, I want to give you a look at this that sort of maybe breaks down visually what is happening relative to prices and the decline last year in prices. We just stopped recording. I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll keep going. By August of 2022, metros were negative. So if you think about this, metros are positive coming into May, and then we start to see the decline month over month in the top 20 metros. By August, all of them were negative month over month. Well, if we look at the picture, coming out of August, we see it lasting till about October. And then after October, we start to see some green, meaning we start to see a few markets making that turn. You know, I've talked about the turn that we're in real estate. You see it visually there. You know, if we represent this another way, it would be to look at home values every month, month over month, and what has happened. This is Case-Shiller and FHFA, and the appreciation or depreciation that's happened nationally every month going all the way back to January of last year. And what do you see from this? Prices are not in a free fall. If you were to take the Case-Shiller report here, the red from July to January is about 3%. You go back to what was said by Black Knight that said 2.6%. So you're in that neighborhood right there, nowhere near what some of the doomsday or, you know, folks that were out there in the fall saying. I think that's our message right now, that we can confidently go out with and be the expert on prices relative to what's happening right now. You know, if you were to take repeat sales and add a dollar value to it, and look at, okay, what is the true value that was gained in the first half of last year, and what is the true value that was lost through, you know, a model like this? That's what you want to look at, not median price, not list price, not any of those situations. But if we look at the true, you know, the truest picture, and you bought a $500,000 home last January, okay, the run up to June, that home is worth $545,000. And then as we see those declines, that home now is worth $529,000. Nowhere near some of the projections that were out there, nowhere near the, you know, some of the things that people have said about real estate. And yet people, if they just listen to that, are often informed in another way. So I hope this helps you get this information out into the market. I'm going to pause here in just a second and bring Jess on and see if we have any questions about prices. But I want to give you one thing. This market is a market that we need to be out and about having conversations. The biggest issue you've heard me say is around the lack of available inventory. And you know that based on the market that you're in. I want to offer you our spring listings pack. You can go to trykcm.com/listings and download the listings pack. The professional equity assessment report is in there. The guide to selling your home, all the things that you need to be effective in communicating your value to someone that's thinking about listing their home this year. You know, I think this market will be a market. I've often compared it to maybe a drawing where they say you must be present to win. I believe agents that are present, that are out there having conversations, will win in this market. So Jess, I want to pause for just a second, bring you on and see if there are questions.
Hi, Dave. I have just seen just one question come through from Linda, who asked,
Sure.
What's your personal opinion about prices going forward?
You know, I think we're gonna make this turn in real estate, and you know, see prices this year remain either flat or very close to flat here nationally. There's some calling for slight appreciation. You know, I've heard some people call for 3% appreciation this calendar year, but we're going to be in a much more normal market this year, nowhere near going through the year, you know, seeing massive depreciation. I think we can say that confidently.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Dave. And just one more note for members, you can access all of the information and resources in the spring listings pack. I will paste the link in the chat where members can access that. It's available in your training center.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Jess. So go in there and grab the spring listings pack. I know you'll find the resources valuable as you have those conversations with people that are thinking about selling in this market. As always, we are grateful for your support and joining the deep dive to be the most knowledgeable agent on these topics in your market. We'll see you back here again next week. Take care.